This content is brought to you by Lair magazine. Are you a busy dungeon master without enough time to create content for your D&D game? Would you like professional, pre-made 5th edition adventures and other resources you can drag and drop into your existing campaign? If so, Lair magazine has exactly what you need. Every issue of Lair magazine comes with 2 5th edition adventures, maps designed for use on virtual tabletops, and other dungeon master resources. New monsters, puzzles, traps, magic items, NPCs, pre-made encounters, and more. Become a DM Lair patron today to get a new issue of Lair magazine every month, along with loads of bonus content, such as additional 5th edition adventures and map packs with even more digital maps. DM Lair patrons also get extra perks, such as playing in D&D games with me, voting on the videos I make, access to my VIP Discord channel, a monthly video hangout over Zoom, and more. Click that link below to learn more and become a DM Lair patron today.
Okay, finally we're here. I have a cat bumping against my leg. All right, this is like still the pre-stream, so we're starting soon right now, but they can hear us and they can see us little tiny pictures. So
very fun.
All right, this is when I usually get some tea, so I'll be back in a second.
Sounds good. It's happening.
Orange. All of my cats have begun gathering around because they know it's stream time. I don't know how my cats know. Every time I'm streaming, they know it's time. They all start.
They start hearing the computer turn on and they know it's almost treat time.
Well, no, I think it's when I'm talking to myself. The only thing that I can imagine is a cue for them. I mean, the lighting, but they don't actually start gathering until I start talking to myself at my desk. When I'm talking to myself at my desk, that seems to be because they'll do it during my D&D games too. Yeah, it's either the lights or me talking to myself, but they know because they all start gathering around. It's not even the right time either. It's the middle of the day for them, and they still know to gather around.
Oh, when Luke's talking at the desk, treats are going to be coming.
Yes, absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're welcome to the stream. We're gonna start in a couple seconds here. Gonna let folks pile in and stuff. We had a wonderful journey to get to this stream.
Perhaps the real stream was the friends we made along the way.
Yes. I'm reading chat. Hey, Gursan, welcome to your first time in a stream. I'm sure it won't be as exciting as you thought it would be, but do they take chat questions? Corey, that's literally all we're doing today. We're taking chat questions. Just make sure you put #question in all caps and then your question. My moderators will pull your question. They throw it into a spreadsheet. We answer questions from the spreadsheet. So there's no need to spam. In fact, should you desire to spam, bad things will happen. My moderators will make sure of it. So that was not a threat. It's just a simple statement of facts. Bluebird, what's going on? Bearded Death, hello. First stream for Bearded Death. Newcomer to D&D. Awesome, dude. Welcome. Ask your questions away. The bot is sleeping. I don't know if we have a question command for the bot, Tashio. Mr. Gore, you are correct. Spammers die. That has been stated multiple times. It's like, this is a hostile live stream. Oh man, I have a good place to put my coffee. All right. I don't know if we have a command for spam either.
Tachio's like, this isn't your first rodeo, is it? He's been in streams before. Well, Tachio's like halfway across the world, so usually he's not able to come. We're doing a midday stream. I'm hungry too, man. I got half a pizza in the refrigerator. I haven't eaten since like about 4 o'clock this morning, dude. And now I'm hungry.
Yeah, it's getting to be about lunchtime here in the Rockies too.
Yeah. You guys are in Colorado, right?
Yeah, up in Summit County.
How far away is that from Denver?
Well, it's about 90 minutes in good traffic, but it's never good traffic. Probably about 2.5 hours most time.
2.5 hours. Do you guys all live in the same area?
Yeah, we're all
You don't
up around Keystone.
You don't gotta tell me where you're from. Don't like what do they call that when you
yeah, my address is, please don't dox me, everybody.
Yeah, doxing, that's the name of it. Yeah. You don't have to give specifics. I was just curious. I'm like, I'm getting all your information on the stream in front of everybody.
We're gonna document this. This will be your this blackmail material.
Well, there's nothing set in stone, but we were thinking about next year LairCon in the Denver area.
That would be awesome, dude.
That's what we're thinking.
No, it's a good place to, not a great place to drive, but a heck of a fun place to hang out in.
Or the area around it, or there were like hotels right by the airport and stuff that might work or something. But
yeah, our airport's got its own little village sprung up around it.
Yeah, sweet. So like what I was like, my team and I still have to do a post-mortem on like this last LairCon that we just had. But
LairCon 2020.
Yeah.
2.
Yeah. We have to do a post-mortem and discuss things. But that was one of the ideas that was thrown out there. So.
Oh heck, I'd love to play games with you in my neck of the woods, man. Keep us posted.
Yeah, we will. We should. I think we might be talking. We might be doing our postmortem next week, and we have a team meeting next week. It might happen. So.
Oh, very fun.
All right, we should start this. Since we're an hour and a half late, anyway. Actually, it's an hour and a half. What does it matter at this point? You know. All right, let me start. I'm gonna do a little spiel thingy, and then we'll jump into it.
Sounds good.
All right. Let's roll the bumper. It's so beautiful. Uh-oh. Okay, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stream. I have a special guest on. They can't see you yet, Nick. I'm on full screen right now. I didn't want to scare them like right off the bat, you know. So I want to ease them into this experience, okay? So
that's reasonable.
I have cats that are gonna fight. It's like, hold on a second. Let's go to our cat cam. I have 2 cats that are about ready to get into a brawl here, so we gotta go to this really quick. This is what they do every time. Like, they sit here and they'll bat at each other, and then Squirty Pie is on top right now. She's gonna go in for the kill. She's gonna go after Squeaky's throat. Just wait for it. She's making her move. She's gonna go after his throat, and Squeaky's gonna patiently let her chew on him, and then he's gonna get her. And then Squirty Pie will run off screaming. Just wait for it. This happens multiple times a day. You all get a special treat that it's happening on stream right now. There you go. She's going for the throat. She's going for the throat now. Squeaky's just waiting to kill her.
Metal.
Uh-oh. Sometimes they don't do it. Sometimes Squirty Pie thinks better of it and walks away. But usually they do the same thing.
Be the bigger cat, Squirty Pie.
Oh yeah. So I have an entire new desk and setup here, and my cameras are all pointing in different directions and stuff. So everybody's going to get a much different look of things than normal. I don't know. I think Squirty Pie got cold feet here. All right, we're gonna go back to our intro. I might come back to this if she decides to get back to work down here. Okay, anyway, I was welcoming you all to the live stream. Today we're gonna be doing a Q&A. I have Nick Hale on from Peak DnD. They are a YouTube channel. There's a link to Peak DnD down in the description. and pinned comment and crap like that. So if you want to go check them out, they're really cool. They're the guys that do the skits with me every so often. They're super funny. Nick is the one that does the rules lawyer. So anyway, you can't see him yet. I'm hiding him because it's going to be a grand reveal, but eventually we're going to get to him. So anyway, we're doing Q&A. Drop your questions in the chat. There are rules about, you know, putting an all caps question mark and stuff so we can get you. But we're just going to sit here for a little bit and answer questions and all that kind of stuff. So we do have a giveaway going on. You can win a copy of Into the Fae, which is my first Kickstarter, or you can get store credit on the DM Lair store where you can get a bunch of cool crap too. So that giveaway, it's free, obviously, to enter. There's a link in the chat, hopefully, where somebody can put a link to the giveaway, because I don't know if our bot is working. I don't think the bot is working. That's spectacular. Okay, anyway, so maybe somebody can find that link. One of my moderators might be able to find it. I don't think it's working. Do I have to find it for you? Let me know if I have to literally find the link for the giveaway for you. What other, besides the giveaway, I don't think I have to. What else do I normally talk about? Oh, we are raising money for a charity. Canines for Warriors. They are a group that basically takes dogs and trains them to be service dogs, and then they give them to veterans, disabled vets, service members and stuff that just need a service dog, right? And a lot of these service dogs that they take are from what we call high kill shelters, where they would probably be euthanized. And so they do amazing work saving dogs' lives and then helping veterans as well. So if you want to donate to Canines for Warriors, there's supposed to be a link in the chat, but we actually, there's a link in the description to Canines for Warriors, because I'm pretty sure I put a link to that charity down in the description. So my moderators might be able to find that link there and just manually paste it. We really have a problem with Stream Elements. It's we got the fight. Hold on. They're doing it now. That was a long time. It took them. They're getting warmed up to it. There we go. This is what it's all about. Oh, that was a body tackle by Squirty Pie right there. She just knocked Squeaky on his butt. Squeaky's thinking twice about this. This might be one of the rare occasions that Squirty Pie wins, which would be amazing. I have seen it happen before. Oh no, Squeaky's about ready to pounce on her. She's done for. He's positioned himself, and now he's getting ready. Here he goes. He's just ready to spring, and she is gonna get tackled. He's gonna have 16 pounds of cat. Oh, Squirty Pie backs off. She has retreated. Squeaky has won the contest of dominance, and now he's gonna come over and bother me. Okay, so there you go. That was our little cat fight. It was less spectacular than normal, but you know, sometimes Squirty Pie just gets lucky and doesn't get destroyed by Squeaky. Okay, cool. The last thing I have to do, we're gonna have to get that giveaway, right? We don't have the giveaway, do we? Okay, let me find the giveaway link for you, and I'm gonna manually put it in chat for you. Giveaway link, hosted landing page. Let me throw this. Oh crap. Come here, baby. You can do this. Okay, I'm throwing a link to the giveaway in chat right now. If my moderators can copy paste that bad boy and then use that in the future, I would appreciate that. Stream Elements sucks. Okay, the last thing I have to do before we can start, I'm sorry, Nick. Nick's just waiting patiently, and I won't let him get on the screen. All right, I gotta shout out some stuff here. All right, all these folks listed on screen right now are my awesome patrons and YouTube members. They help make the content that we create possible, such as this live stream that you're watching right now, and we're gonna answer your questions and help you out, all of my videos and stuff. All of the free content over on the dmlair.com that you can get, and our premium content as well, such as Lair Magazine, which is what my patrons get every single month. These folks right here help support the content, help make it possible. I owe the fact that I can do this full time now to my patrons. I love you guys. Thank you so much for the support. Really do appreciate it. And my patrons get lots of additional D&D products to use in their games. They get a lot of cool stuff as well. They're not just throwing me money. They literally get like awesome crap to use in their games. All right, these guys right here that you can see on screen right now, these guys throw me extra money to get their names read out loud. So I'm going to do that after I take a drink of coffee, tea.
because I'm thirsty. All right, here we go. 5e Magic Shop, Alex, Alex B, Alex S, Amanda W, Amers, Andre M, Andre U, Andrew M, Andy S, Andy W, Angelique K, Antoine B, Arrow Odd, Arutha, Ashley, Baldwin, Bardabear, Ben B, Benjamin P, Burncastle, Brandon A, Brandon C, Carl C, Celestina K, Christopher G, Chris C, Chris T, Christopher S, Clay W, Cody B, Contrary Gravy, Daniel S, Derek E, Double D, Dog, Dresda, Duty K, Dutch, Ed R, Edward L, M, Frabo, Eric B, Erdo T, Fabian H, Forest Brew, Gabriel R, Gallus, Gary V, Gene A, Jeff R, Goliath Cleric, Gravy Chorn, Harlan S, Heather L, Iron Cascade, It's Baobang, Izzy T, Jack, Jace F, Jackie Pizza, Jacob, Jake L, Jacob K, James L, Jan F, Jessica J, Jim P, JM, Joanne P, Joe E, Joe D, John A, John C, Jordan G, Joseph H, Josh R, Josh S, Joshua W, K, Cal S, KK, Keith L, Kevin F, Cuzzides, Kirby, Carrie Claw, Kyle M, Labraworks, Lane Hart, Magna N, Marty M, Marwin R, Matt B, Matthew J, Michael S, Mike S, Mirostal, Mitchell, Mr. Lincoln, Nerd with Glasses, Ol S, O and D, Penguin Butt, Psycho John, Published author, Radiance Guardians, Ramus, Ramsey, Razlik, Race W, Rainer C, Richard M, Robert C, Robert G, Robert J, Ron R, Ronald, Ryan, SD Sounder, Sakura, Sam B, Scott V, Shadow 1317, Shane L, Sheila A, Snowy Tiggy, Son of a Sofa Man, Soul Naya, Stephen G, Stephen T, Stephen A, Silik R, Title Tokens, Tiora H, Terran, the Three Quarters Hospital, the Old DM, the Pickle, the New Bad Ombre, Diago P, Thomas F, Thomas T, Tiger 500, Tim Black, Timothy T, Tom C, Timmy, Tommy T, Tavlin Kush, Travels Lost, Tyler R, Val Galore, Vincent G, Vladimir S, Volhoff V, Will M, William C, William H, Worth a Lot, XX Red Drum, Zachary J. Wee! Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, there we go. Look at that. Okay, and with no further ado, I give you Nick Hale from Peak D&D. There we go. You're on screen now. They can see you.
Hey, everybody.
Oh, no.
Thanks for joining us.
Oh, our concurrent viewers just took a big drop. Oh, man. All right.
Man.
I'm going to have to hide
Why
you
does that
again.
always happen?
Jeez. I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the stream today.
Yeah, so Nick, he is one of the guys that works on the Peak D&D YouTube channel. So he's on stream here. He is their dungeon master for their games. I think Ben is also a dungeon master too, right? He does DMing.
He's a dungeon master. We don't have any videos of him DMing yet, but if he feels like not being lazy anymore, we could probably have that in the future.
That's fair. I saw Ben in chat too. There he is. There, he's in chat. So Ben, you hear that? Stop being lazy. Look at Nick is working his butt off, stinking
right?
like DMing all the time, and you won't do anything. It's crazy.
Yeah, for these ungrateful munchkins.
Are they munchkins? Is your group munchkins?
They have some munchkin-esque tendencies, but I actually like that a little bit.
Yeah.
It means I don't have to hold back.
Yeah, you know what? That's so interesting because that's like one of the things that like people will say is like, you know, their groups are min-maxers and stuff, and like they're super powerful characters, and like they don't know what to do. How do they balance it? How do they pull down their power? And in my brain, I'm always just like, dude, like that's not like I personally don't mind it, just like you said, because I can just throw crazy crap at them and I don't have to worry about it. You know,
you can do all sorts of crazy stuff when your players are super good at combat.
Yeah.
Like I just in our upcoming campaign, we just filmed a session. They fought a 5th level barbarian bugbear and a whole bunch of kobolds and a kobold sorcerer. They're all level 2, and because they're very good at killing things, I get to throw crazy stuff like that at them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think one of the things that people will hear me complain about a lot is the power creep and how things are getting too powerful and stuff. And the reason I complain about it is not because I can't handle it. My concern is that there are new dungeon masters and people out there who aren't sure what to do with the fact that the challenge rating system, when you're developing encounters and adventures according to the challenge rating system, you develop it to supposedly be medium or hard for like whatever level party you have, but then when they actually go play it, they destroy it easily. And that's because we have power creep that's coming into the game and everything's getting more powerful. So like when I complain about it, it's because I'm thinking of the new dungeon masters or the ones that haven't quite figured that stuff out yet, and the frustration they're going to have in trying to figure out how they can challenge their players,
because we get more and more powerful character options, but they never revise or update the challenge rating system. And so that's why I complained about it. And that's why I am really upset with Wizards that they're doing this. Not because it's a big, huge problem per se, but because they're not thinking of new dungeon masters and supporting them and helping them. And that really upsets me.
I also think it's kind of limiting to players too. I think that like if I were like strictly a player and never dungeon master, I'd still be kind of annoyed about the power creep because it over centralizes the options that your characters pick. Like why would I ever play a beast master when the Drake Warden exists? That kind of thing. And I don't like that. I like it when the game has lots of fun options that work, maybe not equally well, but at least on the like parity with one another.
Okay, so you're saying that it's frustrating for players because it centralizes the options in such that there are best-in-class choices, and if you pick something else, you feel like, well, why am I playing that when I can play this thing that's just so much better than that, right?
Yeah, and an individual player might choose to play like the Beastmaster just because it's fun, but a lot of players don't, and a lot of players like. If they're jumping into a game where the dungeon master has figured out, okay, the challenge rating system is a bust, and then their characters are going to be ineffective relative to what everybody else is doing. So I don't think that's great either about the power creep. I think that there's a few different angles that it annoys me on.
Yeah. So I'm reading this bad boy right now, which is why it's on my desk, because this is 2nd edition Pathfinder. So it's on my desk because I can grab it very handily when I have to go upstairs and sit down for a while. And so you can get a lot of reading done. Anyway, we're reading that right now, and we haven't played it yet, but I'm hopeful that they handle the balance a lot better. We'll find out. And I'm hopeful that the classes will be balanced a little bit better so that we don't have the issue you're talking about, where there's definitively better classes than others, which I mean, it's interesting because in 4th edition, they supposedly solved that, right? Like everything was supposedly, there was no, like the typical DnD thing is like, you might think that wizards suck at low levels and then get really powerful, whereas like melees are just kind of like ho-hum most of the time or whatever. And they had this big difference in previous editions and they tried to even things out in 4th edition. And then what happened there. That's when people stopped buying it and Paizo became a powerhouse because people hated it so much, and it gave rise to fierce competition. So then they come back to 5th edition where things are kind of like wacky again, and they're doing all this stuff. So it's like they can't win. I feel bad for Wizards because they can't win. They're screwed no matter what they do.
Yeah, you have a point there. Sometimes it seems like D&D nerds are the people who hate D&D most of all.
Yeah. There's a lot of things. Like there were some other things that I've talked about, I think, with some people on my team, that some of the situations Wizards finds themselves in, they're screwed no matter what. Like they're just hosed. You know what I mean? Like right now with their new edition that's coming out in 2014, you know what I mean? It's like if they call it a new edition, they're hosed. They're screwed because reasons. We could talk about whatever. If they don't call it a new edition, people like me are going to call BS on it and get upset because they're lying to us. It's like they are screwed no matter what they do, and yet they have to put out a new edition for mostly financial reasons, because you just have to. It's just part of the publication cycle, and they have to stay in business because they have lots of people that work for them, you know what I mean? And they have a responsibility to their employees and stuff. So it's like, you got to make money, otherwise that has severe ramifications for everybody, you know what I mean? So I can appreciate that. So again, this is another situation that they're just screwed.
Yeah, so. They can't win with D&D 1, so they might as well do whatever's the most fun for them. Hopefully,
which in this case is lying. Okay.
Yeah, right.
But hey,
it's totally backwards compatible.
Yeah, well, they're like dungeon masters. A lot of them, I think they play the game. Some of them probably do. I know some of them definitely do. Sometimes, what is this little tiny? Oh, okay. Anyway, I got distracted by something. Geez, now I lost my train of thought. Yeah. I was saying that there a lot of them are dungeon masters. So presumably then, they should just we should just assume that half the time they're lying, because as a dungeon master, that's what I do half the time is lie.
Half the time? That's pretty generous.
Yeah.
Master the art of the enigmatic spark.
All right, let's see if we got some questions, and we'll start answering some questions here. Go over to my question sheet. Oh, lots of questions in here. I'm gonna pick one. Here we go. This one's from the Country Gardener. Hey, I have a garden. Wait, do I have? No, I don't have a garden. I used to have a garden, and you know, let me tell you about my garden I used to have. I'm sorry, I got on a tangent now. So I had this garden, all right, and I was spending time. I planted the garden. I bought the plants for the garden. I was weeding, doing all this stuff for the garden, right? And then we had stuff grew, you know, we had like tomatoes, and all this stuff was growing, right? And then I did some calculations after like the second year of having a garden, and I determined that with the cost of having to buy the plants, some of them pre-grown to a certain extent, the cost of water, and the cost of sewage, because like they charged me even though I wasn't using the sewage, they charged me for that as well. By the time I added in all the costs, like it was exponentially more expensive to grow my own garden than it was to go buy the stuff from the store. Even if I wanted to buy like organic stuff or something, you know what I mean? It would be cheaper to go to the store than have my own garden. And at that point, I took that to my wife, and I was like, this is crazy. I can't spend $100 a month on water, you know, to grow a garden. This is nuts.
Yeah, totally.
So anyway, I'm sorry. That was a tangent. I'm sorry, Country Gardener, if that was offensive. Let's do your question now. Running SKT. What does that stand for? SKT. There's so many modules out there. We have to think now.
Storm King's Thunder?
There we go. Storm King's Thunder. Okay.
I think that's it.
That makes sense. They're running the Storm King's Thunder is a curse that causes a player to no longer benefit from natural healing, hit dice, long rests, etc., until they break the curse to extreme. The party is level 7. The warlock got it. There's a curse like that too in Curse of Strahd, I believe, is where I found a curse like that as well. And the question is that too extreme, not being able to benefit at all from natural healing? All right, Nick, go for it.
Nah. No, that's for me, that's in the sweet spot, right? Because a curse you want to be like debilitating enough that the player wants to get rid of it as soon as possible, but also not completely make their character worthless. That's right in the sweet spot for me. I think that's perfectly fair.
And do you think that not being able to heal doesn't ruin their character? Like, if
you could get magic healing, you can still do healing potions. It just makes that character more resource intensive to keep alive.
Mm-hmm. And so they're heavily motivated to get rid of that curse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Works for me.
Okay. I had my Curse of Strahd group. One of them got that, I think. I'm pretty sure it was them. And they were like a level 7 group, level 8 group or something. They were pretty close to the level 7 that the person mentions in their question. And my group was heavily motivated to get rid of it too. I don't remember the details of what they did. My memory sucks, but okay. Well, there you go. It's not that bad. Country Gardener, go ahead and do that to your players. If they complain, you just send them to us. Yeah.
Do it every Tuesday.
Do you see any questions, Nick, by the way, that you thought were good? And let me know the line, the row too, so I can mark it off.
Luke, I'm having some issues here. I'm not seeing any questions in the feed.
So there's tabs at the bottom. You want to go to the October 19th tab.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Wow, look at all those questions. It's amazing how much better this works when you do it properly.
Yeah, it's all right, dude. This is your first time in that spreadsheet, man.
Alrighty here. Haven't run Tomb of Annihilation yet. Have you run that one, Luke?
No, but I have it on my bookshelf, like so many other books.
Yeah, right. No, I'm behind on my published modules. I want to check that out, but that's definitely on my list.
Yeah, that one sounds interesting to me. What was their question about it?
Just asking if we ran it or if we had any tips.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see it. Okay. Yeah.
One tip I have, I'll talk completely out of my butt here since I haven't read the module yet, but it's a reference to an absolute banger of a classic Dungeons and Dragons module, the Tomb of Horrors, or the second edition adventure path, the Return to the Tomb of Horrors. So my suggestion is to read through those modules. I have run through those, had a blast doing it, and just look to those for inspirations as to the feel of what we're looking at. I think that that'll help make your game a little more fun too.
So it sounds like what you're saying is that in addition to reading the 5th edition Tomb of Annihilation module, they should read a couple other modules as homework.
Yeah. You're dungeon masters. Don't you like reading? Reading is fundamental, guys. Or you can just throw all that in the sink if you don't like it, but whatever. But I think you get more out of it if you do read those things.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of times there's cool stuff that will help inspire you and stuff. Yeah.
Mm.
All right, I'm gonna pick one. All right, here you go. Is it okay if your PCs don't win in the end? Like, I'm assuming that's like the end of the campaign, right? So is that okay if they don't win?
Absolutely. And sometimes that can lead to even more interesting stuff down the line. I just concluded a campaign over on our channel on Peak DnD, and I had a lot of potential ideas of how the story would play out if the players failed. And depending on where and when they failed, different cool and interesting things would happen. Obviously, it's a bit of a bummer. Nobody likes to lose, but I mean, the possibility of losing, it has to be there for me. Otherwise, what's really the point?
Right. Yeah. Right. Why are we playing the game if you can't win or if you can't lose? It's also a question in a way, it's a question of agency too. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, you have to, they're making decisions and they're doing stuff. They're taking actions, and if there is literally no opportunity to lose, then that means that the dungeon master is heavily curating the experience so much that he's, doing things behind the screen, manipulating things such that their choices and their actions don't really matter because they're guaranteed to win. And so I think there's a question of taking away player agency as well if you make it so they win, which is really interesting because when Matt Mercer had 3 characters, when 3 characters died in one of his recent games, it was like maybe a month ago or something, people on the internet freaked out because 3 characters died, and one of the things that they accused Matt Mercer of doing, and is my understanding, I'm not super close to the topic, but I heard some people talking about it, but they accused him of stealing agency by allowing the characters to die, right? And in my mind, that's the exact opposite. Like, if you don't allow them to die and you make sure you save their bacon, that's stealing agency. That's taking away the consequences and the meaning of their choices, and it's making it so that their choices don't matter, and the dice don't matter, and the game doesn't matter because you're just heavily curating the entire experience so that they always win. So it was interesting in my mind, right, that the accusation leveled against him was like 180 degrees wrong from the way I see it, No,
I'm with you, man. It's just as much taking away agency if they're guaranteed to win as if they're guaranteed to lose.
Yeah. Okay. Now, that's the flip side of this. So it's definitely okay if they lose. It's better. It's probably more fun if they win, but it can still be tons of fun if they lose too. It's maybe a little bit of a downer, but it'll still be probably awesome. It'll still be something they remember as well. So just because they lose doesn't mean it's a bad ending. It's just different, and it'll still be probably memorable and exciting. I don't know if I've had a group die at the end of a campaign. Not like the end to end. I've had groups TPK before. But I don't know that I've only had a couple groups ever get to the final end of the campaign, to even see if they win or lose. Yeah, both of the groups.
Yeah, most parties that can make it to the end of a campaign can probably survive the climax of it, in my experience.
Usually, yeah. And mine have always been high levels, like level 17 and level 20. So by that time, they're almost unkillable in 5th edition anyway.
Yeah, right.
I think one of them had a cleric. One of them had a level 17 life cleric, too. There was no way that group was dying.
Right.
Okay. What are some ideas to make a campaign focused around fighting in an arena fresh and exciting without getting stale? Okay, so it's a campaign that's focused around fighting in an arena. How do you make that fresh and exciting?
Well, I've run campaigns that have started out like that. I don't know that I've stayed there from 1 to 20, but you can do a lot with an arena. There's lots of like shady side deals, role playing, nobles trying to fix fights. You can work in a lot of plot lines into a contest, into an arena battle without focusing just on that aspect of the game. Peak DnD did a little while ago a play test for a 5e setting called Tanaris, which is largely focused on arena combat. But a thing that they added that I thought was a genius idea is that they also kind of made it like brand management. They added that component to it. So like you're trying to build your team up and you want to like have your own insignia, your own banners, kind of stuff like that. You can pull a lot in, and it doesn't just have to be fighting all the time. You can try to make your professional wrestling team the coolest, and so that they get a push and stuff like that too. So, just don't over fixate on combat. Obviously, that's going to be a huge part of it, but you can do other things too.
Right, yeah. The idea is basically think of the arena as a whole, not just the combat. So there are like rooms, there's like benches and bleachers, and there's probably meeting rooms, and there's probably where they keep the monsters locked up. And so there's lots of different adventures and stuff that you can do with that stuff. It isn't just you're in the arena, you're fighting. It's kind of like, it's just like a really small setting is what it is, Yeah. So if you really want to just keep everything in the arena and they like never leave, then you basically just took your campaign setting and you shrank it down super small, but you could still run similar types of adventures there. You're just a lot more restricted in what you do. In a way, I would question the premise too, why is it being restricted entirely to an arena, and what's the reason for that, and why are you restricting it just to the arena too? Because at some point you might start to run out of ideas when you only got an arena to work with. You can expand the setting, and if you're very committed to just having it occur in and around this arena, make sure you give us like every living, breathing inch of that arena. Get really detailed with your maps, with your NPCs. Put a lot of places for interesting things to happen, both in terms of the geography and of the characters that are going to be involved. Yeah. All right. Is it possible that Wizards of the Coast is creating 5th edition to make it that more players or groups make it to higher levels? Yes and no. They made 5th edition the way it is, where it's harder to die, less so that people can get to higher levels, because they know that groups fizzle out and stuff and never get to higher levels to begin with. So I don't think that's necessarily the reason they made it so that it's really hard to die in 5th edition. They more made it because there is a trend toward like curated stories and stuff where they want a single character to be able to experience the entire story from beginning to end without the fear of death. And so it has to do more with that idea, which is becoming more and more a thing, than getting to higher levels. I don't think they care about people getting to higher levels. In fact, if you look at the modules they publish, every single one of their modules, except for one of them, which is Man Mage Waterdeep or whatever,
right.
All of them end at like level 12 or 15. like all of them. They almost don't publish anything for higher levels. So I don't think they care about people getting to higher levels. I think they more just don't want people to have dying. Part of it too is a negative experience. They're trying to bring in new players and stuff, and I guess they view dying as a negative experience that people react negatively to and might quit or something because they can't handle it. They can't handle dying in a game or something. I don't know. But anyway, Nick, talk.
I mean, I'm with you on that. I think they're making a product. They want to sell that product to new players. And I think that the possibility of, wasting all of the work on a character or whatever can be a turnoff to some newbies. And like Luke said, I've seen a lot of the new players and a lot of the new DMs that are entering the hobby. They tend to focus more on a curated story experience in general. That's not 100% true by any means. I've just noticed it happening a lot, that people are more interested in the role play and the character specific aspects of things. And if you're really into that, losing your character can be a bummer. It's still possible to die in 5th ed, but you kind of have to try pretty hard to wipe a whole party of competently leveled adventurers. So I do think that's a deliberate design choice. I think it has more to do with who they're trying to sell the product to and what those people are looking for in the hobby.
Absolutely, 100%. At the end of the day, they are a company and they have to stay in business, right? And so they're going to look at what markets the best, who their customer base is, what people are willing to buy and or want to buy. And what people want to buy drives a lot of their decisions. Like when you look at why we have the power creep that we do in Tasha's and stuff, that's a marketing decision. They know that if you want players to buy your product, if you are offering more powerful options, it makes your product very appealing to them because they're going to build a more powerful character and they're going to go buy that thing. They know that, and so it's a marketing decision, And so the same with making 5th edition harder to die. They're running a business. That's not a negative comment. It's a statement of fact. And if they don't run a business to make money, they'll be out of business, and then we don't have any books, we don't have any games. So they have to they have to be selfish to a certain extent. Otherwise, everybody loses. All right.
Absolutely.
Oh, I answered that one. I forgot to click the box. All right, here we go. As I mentioned to you in a previous stream, I'm sorry, I don't remember that. I am teaching a class in VR chat about tabletop RPGs. My students want me to discuss how to find groups to play with. What methods do you suggest? All right, how to find groups to play with. Awesome. My top method for finding groups to play with. Well, I have a Discord, the DM Lair Discord, and there's a looking for groups. We're looking for players channel where you can try to find groups. So that's a good place to start. A lot of the people that come to my Discord tend to be pretty helpful and friendly because the ones that aren't get kicked off. So you have a good chance of finding some good people to play with. Not saying it's guaranteed, but that's a place to start. All right, Nick, what are your favorite methods?
Honestly, the best groups I've ever built, I've built them by getting my dork friends really excited about DnD and converting them into players. So this might not work for everybody, and my experience is not every experience. There's never been more opportunities available to people who want to play online and who want to play pickup groups online. By all means, try your hand at that. The most successful groups I've ever done have been almost entirely consisted out of people who I have evangelized D&D to and said, hey, come on, let's play. I'll run a game. And that's resulted in some of my favorite games ever. So honestly, yeah, if just get your friends to play D&D. Try it as a party game once and see if they enjoy it. And if they do, they'll want to play it more. The nice thing about D&D is that it's really fun. So most people I've gotten to sit down and play a game with me have enjoyed it. And that's helped me to build groups around me. Be willing to DM. There's the there's the kicker.
Yes, absolutely. Reddit has an LFG as well. I assembled probably almost all of my current players, except for my patron players, from Reddit's LFG or from game shop posters. Hanging up little posters, little pieces of paper at game shops works really well too. That was super successful as well.
Support your local game shops, folks.
Yeah, and we sometimes talk about how negative and horrible people on Reddit are, and there's some truth to that, depending on what subreddit you're in. But interestingly enough, almost everybody that has responded to my LFGs on Reddit that have come and played with me have been normal, decent human beings. So there's always that. So, they're not all bad, I guess. It just depends on...
No, the people get, in pickup games and Reddit and RPG Bot and all that, they tend to get bad reps, typically because, when you get a bad player, it's really, really memorable. So, I think, the floor is very low, but I don't think you're any less likely to find cool people playing online than you would be in person.
Yeah. It's a good place. Okay, cool. That was that question. I am so hungry, dude. While I'm thinking about pizza that's waiting for me after this stream is over, why don't you tell people your name, what you do, and why you're on the stream? This is your shameless plug option.
Ooh, I love shameless plugs. All right. So, hi, folks. My name is Nick Hale. I am the Dungeon Master for Peak DnD. We're another YouTube channel. We do gameplays. We do DM advice. We do fun video essays about how you can take gaming principles and make your life more fun with them. So please check us out if that's the sort of thing you're interested in. We just posted session 0 of our second gameplay campaign, and this one is hopefully going to be a 1 to 20, unless everybody gets super sick of everything I'm doing and we decide to do something else.
Okay, awesome. So you guys are starting a new campaign.
Yes. We just posted our session 0. So if you want to get in on the ground floor and meet the crazy characters that are going to be doing crazy stuff, please join us and check that video out.
Yeah, these guys are hilarious too. I'm gonna tell you, every time I play in a game with these guys, usually at LairCon, it has been a riot. So their actual plays are stinking hilarious too. So check them out. They're really good. All right.
Appreciate that.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I mean, I have to talk nicely about you. I'm obligated to do so while you're on the stream. I'll talk bad afterwards.
Oh yeah. The next stream after this, you can tell everybody what's wrong with our content.
I'm ignorant of most people's content. In all honesty, I peek at things here and there for different folks, but the reality of my life is that there was a video out there that another channel made that was about different ways that DMs cheat. And I saw their little thumbnail and I was like, oh, I wonder what they have to say. Their video was 40 minutes long. And I'm like, I'm not watching your video. I literally assigned one of my team members, Penguin Butt, to watch the video and give me notes because I'm like, I need to know what they're saying, but I cannot watch the 40-minute video. This is crazy. I was also tempted to send their video over to rev.com, which does captioning, so that they could give me a printed out, words of what they actually said, so that I could read it really quick and skim it and not have to watch it. So that was another thing I contemplated, but I was like, I'll just have Penguin Butt watch it. And so I assigned her the task. She gets paid for it. And I assigned her the task. And then I was like, sorry. She watched the thing. So anyway, yeah.
Good work hanging out, Penguin Butt.
Yes, but I do know that your guys' games are lots of fun. Your stuff is good. Okay.
We do our best.
What do you do to help avoid rabbit holing when creating one-shots or campaigns? Nick, do you know what rabbit holing is?
I think I have an idea of it.
Okay.
I've kind of been dreading this question because I do nothing but rabbit hole.
Okay, I'm going to continue the question then, because I was going to stop right there because I don't know what rabbit holing is. They say, so what do you do to help avoid rabbit holing when creating one-shots or campaigns? I find I tend to constantly rewrite sections as I get new ideas. Okay. So what is first, let's define rabbit holing, Nick.
Let's do. So as my understanding, rabbit holing is when you have, in this context, a D&D session planned out, when you have the dungeon or the story ready to go. And while you're playing it, you get awesome new ideas based on what has happened. And you end up chasing a rabbit, essentially. You kind of get excited about the thing that just happened, and you end up changing a lot of what you've already got in order to maximize what cool implications you can get out of that.
And is this for a particular? Is this for like an adventure or the whole campaign?
I mean, not super clear from the context of the question. I think it's a principle that could apply equally well.
Okay. Okay. All right. Continue. Thank you.
So it's when rabbit holing is, I think to a certain extent, it's very good DM practice, right? So players have done something cool and fun. We've had a fun in-joke come up in the last couple of sessions. You kind of want to integrate that. You kind of want to work that in, you know? But it sounds like this person is having that happen a lot and is end up wasting a lot of the prep that they do in order to accommodate these fun new ideas. And, you know, that's... I was kind of dreading this question because I'm not sure that I'm super great at avoiding it. Okay. I rabbit hole all the time, and some of the best parts of my games have arisen as part of that. But if you find that you're throwing away a lot of stuff that you've already spent a lot of time on because of it, then I can see it becoming an impairment. And my advice is to keep in mind that not every good idea needs to be explored right now. You know, there's things that you can work in, different angles that you can do, and you can always put a pin in a good idea and unpin it later when you don't have as much prepared. That would be my advice on it.
Okay. Yeah, I have two thoughts. The first is piggybacking off of that in saying that one of the things I have in OneNote and keep track of, which is where I keep most of my DM notes in OneNote, one of the things I keep track of is ideas that I've had for cool things that could happen or for future adventures they might go on. Like one of my games they were helping out somebody called the Queen of Worms. She was a hag who literally had purple worms, terrifying CR like 15 creatures, tons of them working for her. And they worked with the Queen of Hags and helped her. And as a result, the Queen of Hags is now taking over a large swath of the region. But that's way up to the north. They haven't been up there for a while, but I have a note down there. Maybe I'll do something with the Queen of Worms, you know, and that'll come back to bite them somehow. But that's been sitting there for over a year now, and along with lots of other of these ideas that I've had, you know. And so yes, take notes, keep it there, because you might come back and do something with it later. But if I were to follow up on every single one of those cool ideas that I had, my campaign would just be like, nothing would ever come to completion. Like, they would have a plot thread, they'd have a bad guy that they're going to fight, and then I would go off on a rabbit hole, and I'd be like pulling them this way, and they would just, it would have this horrible, like, they'd be all over the place, and then that probably wouldn't be a satisfying game experience, I would think. Now, the other thing I wanted to say is, it says, how do you help avoid rabbit holing when creating it? And my answer is, don't do it. Just stop. Like, just don't do it. It's just a decision you make. It's a question of discipline of not doing it. When you see yourself doing it, just say stop, write it down for future, and then continue with what you'd already designed. You know what I mean? Now, if you get the crazy cool idea that's just spectacular and amazing that you can't ignore it, then I mean, I guess you're just gonna have to give in to pressure, but you can just stop. It's how you do it. I don't think that's a helpful
just
answer.
Stop.
Yeah,
Get some help.
Yeah, it's like
whatever that means.
All right. Oh my goodness. Do you guys ever counterspell a healing spell? Yes, I have counterspelled healing spells. I counterspelled healing word once. A player's character was down at 0 hit points and was on the ground dying, and another character was going to do a healing word, and I had my dragon counterspell the healing word and was like, no, you're not getting him up. That was an amazing moment. So yes, I have absolutely done that before. Heck yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's maybe Biff, the first level Kobold sorcerer, doesn't think of it, but any villain who's reasonably smart, any monster who knows what it's doing, who's fought adventurers before, yeah, have it do devastatingly effective things like that. And it's not like your players are going to hesitate to do it to you. So yeah, by all means, use the tools that the game is giving you.
Important question. Why is your hand still intact after petting your cat for more than 3 seconds? Like, my left hand is extremely in shape from petting a cat. Like, I always have cats that come up over here and they'll put their paws on my leg and they want attention, and so I just have to pet them. Yeah. So yeah, I exercise it a lot with my cats, and yeah. Thank you.
Your petting hand strong.
Yeah. Thank you for the question, Nick. Have you run Rime of the Frostmaiden? Any advice for running it, Nick?
All right, so I have not actually run Rime of the Frostmaiden, but I have read it cover to cover, and I've taken some of the ideas from it and kind of used it as a jumping off point for my campaigns. Lean into as far as tone goes. My advice is to lean into the idea of cold and stillness and stagnation, because it's obviously going for a very specific theme. It's going for, hey, this eternal winter has caused a lot of horrible things for these people to endure, and it will. So just think about the cold as an elemental force, how it makes things heavy, how it saps energy, and how nobody is really safe from it. So lean into that, and that will help get the tone of the module across. That's my off the top of my head advice on it.
That's awesome. I'm going to use that because I am running that module right now for my youngling group. They're like 3 or 4 game sessions into it, not very far. What I've noticed is that they die a lot because that module, the module gives you 2 quests that they're supposed to do at level 1, and they completely ignored the one that I gave them and went to a different town. And then at level 1, they started encountering quests that were designed for levels 2 through 4, basically. And the quests, some of the quests in that module are challenging to deadly to begin with, and they were under leveled, and so they've been getting their butts handed to them. But I'm not one to try to push them in the correct way. I presented several plot hooks. They heard rumors, and they almost went to a level 6 or 7 quest because one of the players character, one of the things I liked about Rime of the Frostmaiden as a module is that they have little backstory things that are specific to the module that all of the players get. Their characters get to pick one randomly, and it's something that their character in their backstory or something ties into things. And one of them was they were like a sailor on a ship that crashed or something, and something or other. And so he wanted to go find that ship that got stuck on the ice. And I found the adventure that was that was his backstory, and he wanted to go look for it. And I found the adventure, and it was designed for level 7 or 8 group. It was really up there. And I was well, okay. And so I was getting ready for them to go there, and it was probably just going to be a horrible, miserable experience because it involved a very powerful creature that probably one-shot all of them with one attack, breath weapon. No spoilers. And they decided not to go there and they go somewhere else. And I was like, okay, cool. But it was ready because, yeah. So, my experience has been it can be pretty deadly and challenging. But I think
it's very open-ended. You mentioned going to different towns having different hardships that they're dealing with and opportunities for adventure. So that's something to be mindful of as you run this. It is gonna, it is happy to let your players go somewhere they are not ready to be. If the ship is the one I'm thinking of, I wouldn't have gone there at first level.
Well, I think they were level 2, but it doesn't matter. It would have been the same result. No. Yeah, it's bad. So but
same diff.
I think
for that. And
I'm just kind of leaning into that feel so that these players just know that this is a very dangerous, unforgiving world. That leans into what Nick was saying, that it's cold and harsh and quiet, and stuff. And so it's it's an unforgiving world, and there are dangers out there. And my players are in high school. I think they're either 11th or 12th grade. I think they're 11th grade. So they're teenagers. And I'm not holding back. One of the players has a character. His character dies almost every game session because he does foolish things and he asks for it, but he's happy with it because he likes creating new characters. And so I take it. This is an opportunity for me to run a challenging game that teaches these players when they're young that character death is not a big deal. It's part of the game. It's okay. Just make a new character. Everything goes on. Don't get too attached. Don't go crying and screaming and throwing a temper tantrum, because there are adults that do that. And so like, I want the young teenagers to get that this game, it's okay if you die. It's part of the game. It's part of the fun. Just make a new character. You know, it's life goes on. You know, so
that's canny, because like teens especially, they hate being condescended to. They would not enjoy a game where you had the kid gloves on all the time.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. I never thought about that. Huh. I've always just thought of like, some people might think that, oh, they're just kids. How can you kill their characters? Are you a cruel, heartless jerk? What's wrong with you? And so that's kind of what I think. And I'm just like, no, that doesn't help people when you're just like overly nice and handhold them. That doesn't help them in life. They need to learn some basic thing about, this is a game too. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a game. That's the nifty part about it. Nobody dies in real life.
Yeah. All right, let's get another one here. And we're gonna take a break here too in a second. All right, I'm taking my new group of players on 3 one-shots, leveling them from 1 to 15, and including a couple deaths. Want them to learn before our main campaign. Is it a good idea, or am I dooming them? Okay, so it sounds like they're just doing 3 one-shots and at different levels between levels 1 to 15. But it sounds like they're going to intentionally have some of them die so that they learn that death's okay or something before the main campaign. And is that a good idea or not? Nick?
Well, my first thought is that in principle, I see what you're going for with that. I would reframe the thought there from I am definitely going to kill these characters to I'm going to put these characters in a position where they can easily die. Mm-hmm. I would hesitate to take away, the possibility of survival from them, but I can see the value in introducing them to the idea of sometimes you're going to get sucker punched and you just got to make the best of it. But I don't know that I would make it my goal necessarily to kill them. Certainly put them in situations where it's likely. I love putting my players in over their heads, but just keep a little bit of a tempering influence on that. Don't take away victory from them if they earn it with good play and good rolls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I agree, because it goes back to the what we were talking about before about player agency, and when we talked about ensuring that they live. Well, the converse is true too. If you ensure that they die, you're taking away player agency. Like you can't do either, really. If you want to have agency intact, you need to have the possibility for both death and survival be on the table. Run a challenging game if that's what you're going for. But if they survive, they survive. You should not intentionally kill them, because that's not good either. So yeah, 100% agree. It's part of it's about agency. It's also about it being a game too, right? Because like, yes, we can't ignore the game aspect of things, because when you're rolling dice and stuff, the dice and your decisions should both equally, or maybe not equally, but they should both impact what happens, And so if there's not a possibility for both winning and losing, it minimizes the game aspect, and a lot of people want to enjoy that game aspect and not just sit there and have a pretty story be told, even if it's a collective story. All right. We're going to do right now. All right. We're going to give my cats a bunch of treats, and they're going to act like crazy little maniacs. And then we're going to take a quick bio, and then we're going to come back and we'll keep answering questions. So, let me get my cats. Let me call my cats.
This is the cat content everyone's here for.
Yeah, this right here. This is right here. Bring some water.
Take note, folks. Those treats are the key to YouTube success.
Yes, they absolutely are. What is going on? Got it. All right, and then we're gonna bio. We'll be right back.
See you in a few.
Zoe. My dog just went to the bathroom on my floor. Oh my goodness. Are you there, dude? Oh wait, I gotta get my coffee.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, I gotta get my tea.
Okay.
I forgot to tell the story about what happened before the stream too.
Oh, right. Yeah, we just kind of got right to it, didn't we?
Yeah. So I got like a new desk and stuff, you know, and I had to like unplug all my computer stuff, move it, put new desk in. That was like an all day Monday thing, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, that's a day.
What I wanted a standing desk so I could, because I'm like I work at my desk like all day. I'm like doing 8 to 12 hour days, usually trending toward the longer ones. And I'm sitting down at my desk all day and I'm just like, this is not good. I need to stand, you know, and so I get a standing desk. I'm like, this is great. But anyway, I had to unplug everything. And today before the stream, I was like, okay, I need to start getting ready before I normally would because I have to make sure everything works. And everything wasn't working. and I had like lots of stuff was going wrong technically, you know, and then I got that resolved, and as I was working on trying to figure it out, like everything was going wrong. My dog takes a dump on my floor. Okay, I'm like sitting here trying to get things working, and my dog was trying to tell me. All right, she was bothering me and stuff, and she's trying to tell me, and I didn't. She also hadn't eaten her food either. For whatever reason, her food was untouched, and I thought that she was hungry, and I was like, Zoe, your food's right there. I go put her over by her food, and I'm just like, leave me alone. I'm trying to figure out my stream. This is crazy, and then I'm working, and the next thing I know, I smell something, and I'm just like, what the? I look down, and she's squatting, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. And so we have a steam cleaner. We have a little portable steam cleaner, you know, so I can clean up little pet messes. So anyway, I clean it up, and I'm just like, holy crap. And then finally get all the technical stuff figured out and whatnot. And like, she's apparently got problems, because right now this is another thing that she'll do. She's got to go to the bathroom. If she doesn't tell you, she'll wait until I leave the room. I leave the room, and that's when she gets up and does it. She's just waiting for me to leave to do her thing. So anyway, I literally right now, I went up to use the bathroom, and I came back down, and I had a present on my floor. Okay, and then I had to clean it up. So yeah, so I had like a perfect storm before the stream today.
My dog's a little poop hiding goblin.
Your dog hides it?
Well, she'll wait until nobody's watching her, and then she'll sneak away and get one out.
So your dog does the same thing?
Yeah, she does the same thing too.
What kind of dog do you have?
I've got a Chihuahua.
That's what mine is.
It's a Chihuahua thing.
Look.
There we go.
Here, I'm gonna show you my dog.
Oh, please do. Show me the baby. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
She just got in trouble, so she's not too happy right now. But this is the little poop head right here.
Shameful Chihuahua side glance there. I love it.
Yep.
My dog's sleeping off some pain meds now, so I'm gonna let her rest.
Yeah,
just had a tooth pulled.
That's fair. You had a tooth break? Did you say?
Yeah, she's getting older, her teeth getting a little more brittle.
Okay. Yeah, we don't know how old our dog is, but she's pretty much blind right now. We have an appointment with the ophthalmologist to get her checked out. But her teeth she needs a teeth cleaning too. But the teeth cleaning, it's like they want $3,000 to clean her teeth, because they're like, you know, we have to do like anesthesia, whatever, and because you're probably gonna have to do an extraction too, and all this stuff. And I'm just like, dude, $3,000. And then of course she's blind, so the ophthalmologist. I mean, I was looking at different things that can cause blindness in dogs and like what they have to do, and I'm just like, that could be a surgery. It's like $4,000 to $6,000, and I'm just like, I was gonna do the teeth cleaning, then my wife was like, "What? No. Take care of the ophthalmologist stuff first, because you don't know what that's gonna cost, and then do a teeth cleaning, because teeth cleaning.
We'll see what we've got left over."
Yeah, exactly. And so I was like, that's smart. And so I canceled the teeth cleaning thing, and now we got to do the ophthalmologist thing. And there was another not dentist, but a dog vet or whatever that would do teeth cleaning a lot cheaper. But I don't know. I didn't really trust these people. So
right. Always be wary of discount veterinary service. But...
yeah, I don't know. I was like, well, I don't know. That's a rabbit hole. But anyway, that's cool. So your little Chihuahua does the same thing. Sneaks away and poops when you're not looking. Oh my gosh.
This is now a Chihuahua stream.
Yeah, it's so annoying too, because I'm just like, at least if you're trying to tell me and I ignore you, that's on me, you know? But when you don't say anything and you literally wait until I leave the room and then I come back down and it's there, it's like, yeah.
Little goblins.
Okay, we should do some questions. People are asking if the questions are over, and my moderators are defending me, saying that Luke, well, they're not defending me. They're just saying that Luke goes off on tangents. It's not our fault. So anyway, let's see. This is a question. Does it feel to you like the core books are entry level and expansions are becoming pay to win? Ooh, that is an interesting way to look at that. Okay,
I see, but I mean, well, I think that there's some fairness to it, but I think it's they are making a product. They want you to buy the product, and one way to do that is to make it so there's some really cool and or really powerful stuff in that manual. So I can see that. I don't think that their intention is necessarily to they want to create an incentive for people to buy their manuals, and part of that is being up to date on all the new feats, all the new subclasses and all that. So I can see that. I don't know if that constitutes pay to win. I think that's getting into something a little subjective. I don't know. Luke, what do you think about it?
I mean, I don't think it's pay to win, and I think the biggest thing I'll use to support that argument is that Paladin is still one of the strongest classes in the game, and that's out of the core rulebook. You know what I mean?
Paladin right out of the box is one of the stronger classes you can play, I think.
Yeah, so I don't think it's necessarily. Yeah. What was the other one?
Clerics too, I think.
Oh,
I think the war cleric is probably one of the strongest characters you can make.
Oh, so is that the war domain or whatever?
Yeah, the war domain. That's core. That's in the PHB.
Yeah, and so I think that since we have at least a couple core classes that are like pound for pound some of the best ones you can get, I don't think that pay to win is necessarily what they're going for. I think that sorry, I interrupted you. You go on. What I was just saying is I think that in the core books what you see is a fundamental inability to balance classes, either intentionally or through ignorance or bad playtesting or something. I don't know exactly what, but it's an inability to balance classes, or they are intentionally not balancing classes, which there could be reasons for that as well. But then you see in the later stuff that's coming out, like Tasha's, we'll always point at Tasha's, you see an intentional desire to make them more powerful that was confirmed by people that work at Wizards. They are intentionally making them more powerful because they want to encourage people to buy the books, literally is what one of their employees said. So I do see that, but I don't think it's pay to win. I think it could be interpreted that way, but I don't see it. Anyway, Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think some of the new materials that they've made have specifically addressed problems with certain classes out of core. Like the Beastmaster Ranger is kind of the example where it just ended up not really coming together in the way they envisioned. So some of the later manuals are just basically a better take, a more effective version of the Beastmaster. So I think that there is some, to some extent, some of the classes that are getting stronger in those manuals are getting stronger because they didn't have as many powerful options in core. So that can also account for some of it, I think.
Yeah. All right. How do you feel about stray elements or effects that can outright kill a PC? The old save or die idea. Nick's rubbing his hands. So you like that stuff? Is that what you're saying?
You know what? I cut my teeth in terms of tabletop D&D on 3.5 edition, and that edition caught a lot of flack, and I think to an extent rightfully so, for having a preponderance of those effects, and they were never as useful for the players as they were for the monsters, just because anything that's worth using them on is probably strong enough to resist them. So I think that they're tricky in order to integrate into the game. With that having been said, I really enjoy using those. I think they're really, really fun. And it's a great way to ratchet up the danger. If you want your evil wizard to to make an impression, you can have him just like kill an onlooker with a single spell or with a glance, and suddenly the players realize, oh crap, this guy's got this guy's got some bad juju. So I like them conceptually. I can see how mechanically they're very difficult to make work effectively, at least as far as a system-wide kind of approach to it.
Yeah, I think that they don't bother me at all, because I know that in 5th edition, one character dying is a trivial matter that is easily remedied by somebody casting Revivify. In which you're going to get it. What is it? 5th level? They get access to Revivify.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's
I think
pretty.
It's 4th level spell, maybe it's 3rd.
Oh, Revivify is a 3rd level spell, so they would get it at level 5, I think.
Yeah, level 5 at the earliest.
Yeah.
And that's pretty darn soon.
Right. So, to me, it's okay, so a character died. I don't really care because you have Revivify and you're going to Revivify him. So just calm down, folks. It's going to be remedied in 2 seconds. I once had a player really have a problem with the fact that a wizard cast a spell that killed him outright. And I was interpreting the spell a little bit differently than he thought it should be interpreted. But he had a problem with the fact that the spell killed him, and we actually had a discussion over it in the game and stuff. But in hindsight, it occurred to me, why were you making a big deal about it? That the bard would have just revivified you in 2 seconds, and you would have been fine. So I don't even know why it had to become a big deal.
Yeah, you don't even need a cleric to come back to life anymore.
Yeah.
A bard can do it. Well,
and now in 1 DnD, they want the bard's inspiration thing can heal you too. You can use a reaction to heal. So they're making more ways of healing available for it to be less. The death has less of a consequence, or dropping to 0 hit points especially has less of a consequence. So no, I don't have a problem with effects that can outright kill a PC, because I know that it's remedied like that. It's not.
It's a fixable problem in DnD.
Yeah, the only truly unfixable thing is if it's a TPK and everyone dies. There's generally no.
Too, if you really cared.
What's that?
You can also get around that if you have, if you really cared to.
How do you get around that?
Fingernail clippings. You need a piece of the body to resurrect someone. You get a fingernail clipping or a lock of hair from every member of the party, and you leave them with your nice cleric friend and say, hey, if we don't come back from this, get this down to the temple, and here's an advance on what that'll cost. So it's really not that big a problem. Death is cheap, and diamonds are expensive, but that's a fixable problem.
That is so. I've never heard of that before. I've never had a group try to do that. That is so awesome. Wow.
That's the first thing my PCs tried when they realized all they needed was one body part.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Well, okay, there you go. TPKs don't matter anymore as long as your players do that.
If you do this one very specific thing and your DM has no problem with it.
Correct. Yeah, I would probably have a problem with it in some way.
Dungeon masters hate him. One simple trick.
Oh gosh. Oh, that's a good video right there. That's the type of video. Well, I don't want to name names, but there are certain YouTube channels that would definitely make a video about that right there.
Oh, totally.
And it would be like, this insane trick. Dungeon masters hate this one insane trick.
That's a sketch right there.
Jeez. It might be, yeah.
I know Max is listening. Write that one down.
We're planning on doing some more of those sketches too. You guys are probably gonna have to bug the crap out of me because they always, I don't know. I'm busy and everything falls to the bottom of the pile unless somebody bothers me.
Oh, of course. No, we'll when we have a really good idea that we can't wait to do, we'll be poking at you, I'm sure.
Okay. All right. Sweet. Okay. Questions. Shameless plug. Luke, where can I find easy to use DM material that comes in monthly releases and makes my prep for me?
Where indeed?
Where can you find that? Well, let me tell you where. Check this out. This right here is Lair Magazine. This is the publication that my team and I create every single month for DM Lair patrons. And it literally has adventures for you. It has digital maps. It has puzzles, traps. It has a whole bunch of things, new monsters. You can either use these things as written, you can drag and drop them into your existing adventures, existing campaigns, you can use it to inspire you, etc., etc. It is very, very nice. It reduces your prep time. I've had people that have used this stuff and they've told me that it's way easier to prep using our material than official published things. Because of the way that we publish it and how we lay things out in our organization and how we do the formatting and stuff. It's all intentionally designed to make your game prep easier. So there you go. That is the answer to that question. It's amazing how that stuff happens. I don't know if this was a plan by this wonderful person in the stream or if it just happened, but okay, there we go.
There you go. Never pass up an opportunity to plug.
Okay, this question is important. Cats or bacon, Nick?
Oh my gosh. Bacon.
Well, considering that I actually don't even eat bacon that often because it's horrible for you, I'm gonna go with cats. We actually, as much as I talk about bacon, we have bacon like once every 3 months or something. We just don't eat it a whole lot, you know.
That's a tough choice.
Yeah. Okay.
But I haven't had a cat in a long time, so I'm going with bacon.
Oh yeah, I got lots of cats. Now, if you were to ask me dog or bacon, I'm going with bacon. Absolutely. Because I'll tell you what, I just cleaned up this guy's poop on my floor twice today, so. Are you providing a clear heads up on lethality of situations so players can appropriately mitigate the danger? No. Heck no. I'm not going to tell them, hey guys, this encounter that you're about to go into is very lethal, so you should be very careful about it. No, that is a complete destruction of immersion, in my opinion. That ruins your game. Like when you have like a little button, it's like a little thing that pops up on screen that's like, be careful, these enemies are dangerous, and then they're like being extra careful. No, that destroys the game, in my opinion. That takes you out of character, and that just ruins your experience. That would ruin my experience. The only time I would ever do something like that is if I had a very special group that needed that stuff because they couldn't take it otherwise. But I probably wouldn't play DnD with a group like that. They couldn't handle a little bit of like, you know, like, holy crap, this is hard type of thing. So I don't know, but no, that ruins the game, in my opinion. I'm a hard no on that, ever. Okay, Nick, go.
So I've done it before, but every time I have, I've later looked back on it and thought that really wasn't necessary. They were fine. I think that the best way to do something like that is to include some environmental storytelling or some sort of framing that makes it clear the place we are going to now is dangerous. And, you know, that's kind of part of the adventurer's life anyway. I mean, the party should always expect to be in danger. So, you know, if you want to drop a clue like, hey, there's a beholder in this dungeon and it might wreck your whole day, leave a petrified adventurer outside. You can do stuff like that. Stuff that isn't just like stopping the game and saying, well, you may find this challenging. You can find other ways to do that.
It's like the warnings at the beginning of movies that like the ones for photosensitive viewers where it could cause like seizures and stuff. Oh yeah,
the epilepsy warning.
Yeah. Which I'm not saying that those are bad because I'm sure that there's a good reason those exist, but it's similar to that. Only it's the DnD version.
Yeah, you don't have to do that in a DnD game,
right?
for a challenging combat encounter.
Yeah, it's like warning: this combat may be challenging. I should do. You know what? I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna start doing that in my groups. I'm gonna do it for almost every encounter. It's gonna be a bunch of kobolds, and I'm gonna be like, warning, this combat may be challenging. if you are not stalwart in the face of danger, if you don't understand that this game involves swords and axes and fireballs and other lethal material, be wary, turn back now. Like, if you didn't understand what you were getting into, if you didn't understand the nature of D&D and why it's called Dungeons and Dragons, turn back now. I need to have these warnings now. Oh my gosh.
There you go.
Okay. How can I balance quick travel time with players as well as have them do things like camp and other things? I stumped him. I mean, quick travel time. So usually unless I'm doing a hex crawl, which I kind of am for one of my games, but unless I'm doing a hex crawl, travel time from point A to point B usually has the opportunity for one interesting thing to happen along the way. But other than that, I'm getting them from point A to point B fairly quickly, because you can have interesting stuff happen along the way, but most of the time we all understand that the interesting stuff really happens in the dungeon location, the adventure location where you're going. And so I don't want to dilly-dally too much. So usually it's just like a fast forward thing. If there's no reason, in my opinion, to describe setting up camp. Okay, guys, how are you going to set up your camp? Okay, now you might ask them, each day who's taking first watch and second watch, because that might be relevant when you roll for random encounters or something, but I'm not going to be like, okay, guys, you're sitting around the campfire. Let's role play sitting around the campfire for half an hour. Now you might, like if your group likes to do that, you might curate your game experience for that. But if you know that your group isn't into that sort of thing, there's no reason to go there. Like you need to use your judgment as a game master to understand that my group just wants to get to the dungeon. Let's get there. My group likes to talk in character a lot. Okay, let's give them some space for that. Maybe they want to do that at some point. So part of the answer to that question is, do what you feel is most enjoyable for you and your group, right? And provide space if needed for that sort of thing. But don't feel bad about just skipping it too, if you know that none of you really care about that. So, okay, anyway, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, I think that game time is a finite resource. Creating gameplay videos for YouTube has kind of really impressed that upon me recently. So just make sure that you're using that resource wisely, because you've got a certain amount of time where your players can be there sitting down playing a game with you. So ideally, you want to get to the cool stuff. Like again, if you know that your players are not super into having imaginary conversations around an imaginary campfire, great. First, second, and third watch, roll on the random encounter table. And even the random encounters, honestly, a thing that I really like to do is I try to find ways to work in interesting things in them that are relevant to what's going on in the story and in the campaign. So, if we're headed to the Frostmaiden's temple or something, maybe a random encounter has, one guy branded with the mark of the Frostmaiden, so that her influence is being felt even in this otherwise unrelated random encounter. So just make good use of the time you have, and make sure that you're not bogging yourself down in the stuff that's less interesting than all the cool stuff.
Yep, absolutely. When a PC dies, man, we're talking about PCs dying a lot today.
Lots of death talk today. Yeah.
I know, we're all morbid. When a PC dies, do you have any rules when they make a new character? My players have expressed things like, if my guy dies, I'll just use the same guy but with a different name. So they're gonna literally just make a cookie cutter build and make the same one. So, okay, let's do your rules and then I'll talk about my rules.
So, this is a problem I honestly haven't encountered too much, because I play with a lot of people who love making characters and who have way more character ideas than they have games to use them in. So, if I end up in a situation where a character essentially has to be shelved, that character can't come back, or it wouldn't make sense for them to come back, then I'm always happy with making up a new concept. But if somebody's really, really attached to a certain idea for a character, I don't know. Usually I just kind of eyeball stuff like that. It's kind of a case by case for me.
Yeah, when a character dies in my games, it's literally just make another character at the exact same level and let's keep playing. I don't do any rules like start at level 1 and then you have to level up. No, I don't do that. You don't start 2 levels behind or something. You just roll up a character at the exact same level and then play with the group. And I'm going to get you into the game as fast as I can. I'm not going to wait for a story moment where it's appropriate. I want you playing the game. And if I had a player that was like, let's pretend they were a bard, and let's pretend that their name was Nigel. I'm going to pick on Nigel. He never did this. I'm just picking on him. Well, let's see, my player Aaron. Well, he's actually not playing with us anymore. He left us and sucks. But anyway, we love Aaron. Anyway, he played the bard Nigel, and if he had like died and then been like, I'm just gonna bring back Nigel too, and he's gonna be the exact same build and everything, I would just be like, okay, like I'm not gonna tell him he can't do it. I would probably roll my eyes a little bit, but I would ask him. He's probably has his heart set on that, playing that bard, that character build. He just loves it for whatever reason. Or maybe he's just not familiar enough with anything else and doesn't want to change, which is fair too. But if you wanted to do it, my only request would be, that's okay. What I want you to do though is give me some sort of rationale for why he's the exact same build. Like, I don't care what you do, have him be a twin brother, have him be like the mirror image on a different plane of existence that somehow got morphed and transported into the current plane of existence. Give me some reason or rationale that makes somewhat sense, and I'm pretty easy to please, but just tell me why, and then you play what you want to play. Because I hate like telling people they can't play the thing they want to play. You know what I mean? I don't want to be the guy that does that, you know? But I like you, I've never had players who aren't excited to make something else. You know, most of the time they're dead. Cool, I'm making something else because hey, that's fun. It's fun to die and then make something else. That's what I like dying a lot when I'm a player because I get to make cool stuff usually.
And I like that approach too. Just like, I'm a representative from the Interdimensional Council of Nigels, and we've discovered that this plot thread is too important to the destiny of the multiverse to neglect. We are issuing you a new Nigel.
Yes, we have decided that this plane of existence requires a Nigel at this moment, and therefore we're issuing a new Nigel, and he shows up.
It can be campy like that. It can be funny, you know? That's how you get running gags.
I mean, I don't mind that sort of thing, you know? We have mechanics like that where it's just everybody knows it's some silly little thing that's not even... I mean, in that case, that's kind of could be realistic in the aspect of the fantasy world, but yeah. What time is it at your place? It's almost 9 in the evening here. I'm at 3 o'clock. What are you at, Nick?
1 p.m. Mountain Time.
Easiest question in the world. We need more questions like that. Moderators,
all right,
bring us more questions like that. When you are homebrewing rules, what process do you go through to make sure you don't break the game?
Well, my unconventional approach, mostly when I do house rules, I do it because it's a quality of life thing that just kind of speeds up play or makes an annoying problem that none of us find interesting go away for a while. Is stuff like encumbrance, bonus action potion, stuff like that. The trick to not breaking the game when you make those changes is to not care if you break the game.
Yeah. And I make changes sometimes to things in House Roulette, and we just try it out. And I'll tell my players, I'm like, hey guys, I want to try this out. We're play testing it. We're trying it out. I'm not married to it. If we tweak it along the way, we'll tweak it as needed. If we all decide we hate it, we'll get rid of it and we'll go back to normal. And so
once you open the door to changing the rules, there's nothing that says you can't say, okay, this isn't working, we're going to pull back on it. It's totally fine to like miss the mark. It's better than like not trying anything different, in my opinion.
Yeah, I had a homebrew initiative system that we used for like a year in my Sword Coast Guard game or more, and finally we decided that we didn't like it and we threw it out and we went back to our normal out of the box initiative system. So yeah, you can throw things out and tweak it and change it. I don't think there's not any set rule. You can try to eyeball it and make it as good as you can before you start using it, but at the end of the day, you just got to put it in there and see what happens and then adjust it or get rid of it.
Yeah, like in general, things that affect everybody are better than things that affect only one or two kinds of characters or only affect the monsters. Yes. It's really kind of hard to unbalance the game that way, simply because everybody's playing by the new rule. If it's only one or two people are, that's when you start to run into problems, I think.
That's correct. Absolutely. Yep. All right. I have recently started a campaign that is based on intrigue, espionage, and infiltration, etc., heavily downplaying combat. Any advice on how to challenge my players in a satisfying way?
Well, my thought is that it's a different kind of challenge, and you have to lean into that. So if you're, it's easy to see what's the difficulty in combat, right? Because you either you kill or be killed when initiative is rolled, for the most part. For things like intrigue and espionage, the threat has to look slightly different. The threat isn't a big old monster with bulging muscles and death beams. The threat is just, a guy who's really smart and really well informed. So lean into that. Find a way to make the threats feel threatening. Let the players get outplayed the first time that they stick their nose into somebody's business, and see how things go from there.
Yeah, that's I don't delve too much myself into the intrigue, espionage, infiltration type stuff, so I don't have a whole lot of experience with that, and so I'm really glad you're here to give some thoughts. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Nick. There you go. I probably would have came up with something and pulled something out.
Have the occasional combat, though. Even if it's not going to happen often, even if that's not the emphasis, have the occasional combat, just to keep things interesting. And, D&D is a system that's, a lot of it is designed around combat. So, don't be afraid of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I can't play in a game without combat. I'm going to be running Strixhaven, a curriculum of chaos, for a group of 3 players. So how would you go about not accidentally TPKing low-level parties without the teacher saves you? I mean, Strixhaven didn't seem like, the impression I got of it is that it's not very challenging. Like, I haven't read it or anything, but just the feel of it, I don't see how Strixhaven is challenging, like from a deadly standpoint. But I don't know. I'm just spitballing. That was one of the books I never bought. I read about it and I'm like, I'm never gonna use that. It doesn't even appeal to me. That's a no buy. So
fair enough.
But
and I full disclosure, I haven't read through Strixhaven either. But I think that the advice I have for this is pretty much the same as I do in general. A TPK is an okay outcome. And if the players mess with something that's above their pay grade and they get TPK'd, well, that's just something that we have to let stand. And the next time they try it, they'll know not to try that again. Just got to make peace with the possibility. Maybe there's a parachute, but yeah, I don't like the teacher saves you either. I don't think, like, my kind of ethos is that NPCs don't really do the cool stuff by and large. The NPCs are the people who watch the players do the cool stuff and they get excited and applaud them later. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't have a teacher bail them out. If it's designed to be D&D Hogwarts and a place where you can experiment with your cool stuff, the school probably has some safety measures in place, but I don't think that should distract from beat by beat gameplay. Just honestly play the game, have fun playing the game, and if the party dies, well, try to let them have fun dying.
Yeah, and Strixhaven is mostly a setting book too. It's not module. I think they have a sample adventure in there that runs you through a couple levels maybe, but it's mostly a setting book. And so even the sample adventure they have in there, the solution is to just change the encounters a little bit so that it better fits 3 players. We have coming up in Lair magazine, we're going to be publishing, I think it's coming out in it's like the January issue or something, one of our upcoming issues. We're going to be putting out an article that deals with adjusting it for different levels of players and difficulties, and I'm pretty sure I've done a video on it as well. But really the answer is just adjust the adventure for 3 players. If you don't want to accidentally TPK them, just change it. If there be fewer monsters or something, change out the monsters to lower CR so you can tweak things. Mm-hmm. All right. What is food the best form of bribery for you dungeon masters? How far can a bribery go? I would say that if you bring me pizza and a beer, that's about as good as you're gonna get as far as bribing me as a dungeon master. Now, how far can it go? Well, I'll tell you, I had a player who constantly brought me, I don't think he ever got me pizza, but he brought me beer like every game session. He brought me minis and lots of other stuff. And it didn't save him when he became a problem player. It did not save him from being asked to leave the group, essentially. So it'll only get you so far.
Right. It shouldn't make the game less fun for everybody else, and it shouldn't be used as an excuse to try to overcome bad player behavior. But yes, bring pizza. Bring pizza every time. Bring salty snacks, bring sweet snacks, and not just for the DM, share them with the table, and you'll be popular with everybody. So when the DM says, "Oh, I guess maybe that cone of cold didn't catch you," everybody else knows, well, maybe if I brought more snacks, I wouldn't have gotten cone of cold either.
That's good. I'm gonna use that, man. I don't.
And it's the second best bribery, but the best bribery is only available to my wife.
All right, we'll just leave that right there. Thank you. Oh, here's an easy question. What time is lunch time for you, Nick?
When I get hungry, basically, but yeah, typically around 12:30, 1 o'clock. It's nigh unto lunchtime for me out here.
Yeah, I eat when I want to too. I don't really keep track of time. Oh, here's another one. Are you a night owl or an early bird, Nick?
Oh, night owl, definitely. I'm up all night.
What time do you normally get up? What time do you normally go to bed?
I usually get up around 9 a.m. Well, if on a typical working day, if I don't have anything to do, I'll sleep in. But yeah, I'm usually up till around midnight.
Okay.
At the very least. Sometimes I'll get like crazy about an idea or a writing thing I want to do, and I'll end up staying till 2 a.m.
Okay.
But I try to avoid doing that. I'm not a spring chicken anymore.
I'm up weekdays. I get up at 4 a.m. and go to bed around 8. Yeah, I try to get to bed by 8. Weekends, I sleep in till 6 a.m. And that's what I do right now. I find mornings to be so extremely productive. I get so much work done. And then I feel really good. I got a great start on my day, and the rest of the day just goes really well when I'm productive in the morning.
That's fair.
I had, what was it? I think it was last weekend. I had a D&D game on Saturday that ran till like almost midnight. And so I didn't get up at 4 a.m. the next day. I turned my alarm off and woke up whenever I woke up around like 9, I think. And I had one of the worst days I've ever had. It threw off like everything. I felt like crap the whole day. I felt unproductive. I felt like garbage. So I was like, I can't do that again. I gotta get up early, man. So I'm like the opposite. I like getting up early, man. And that makes me feel good. So,
yeah, fair enough.
But if it's just a personal preference type thing.
Of course. No objectively correct answer.
No, not really. Except that you seem really hardcore when you get up early,
Oh yeah. People like me are like, wow, there's a 4 in the morning too?
Yeah.
I'm up at 4, it's because I haven't gone to bed.
Yeah. How do I start playing as a player when I've only been in D&D as a dungeon master? Just start?
Well,
find a game to play
cherish
and
it.
start.
Yeah, cherish the opportunity to stop DMing for a minute and try to pull back on the God complex a little bit. But aside from that, but maybe not. maybe that's appropriate to your character.
Yeah, just take a break. Maybe try to see if one of your players will dungeon master or something, or find another game you can play in. But yeah, I don't think it's too hard, unless I'm misunderstanding the question. I have a player trying to learn forbidden spells in my campaign, unknown to the other players. What kinds of consequences would you implement if they are caught by NPC or other players? I mean, I don't think I would have any consequences. The players and whoever caught them would decide what the consequences are. If the other player's character is ever found out, then they would decide how they react. If an NPC found out, then role-playing the NPC would decide how the NPC would react. And it just depends on, if I'm role-playing the NPC, it depends on the NPC. And characters on the characters. So I don't, that's not something I would think of in advance. That's something that would just have to unveil itself at the game table
based upon circumstances and who discovers it.
Yeah. Yeah, my only advice would be to think about, okay, why is the spell forbidden? Who forbade it? And what mechanism do they think they have to enforce it? I don't know. Maybe it's something like literally the magic police show up, but I doubt it. Think about why a spell would otherwise be considered taboo or forbidden in your world and the cultures that they're existing within. And yeah, have players and NPCs make intelligent decisions based on that information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. By the way, guys, we do have a giveaway going on. You can win a copy of Into the Fae, our first Kickstarter, or store credit on the DM Lair store. There's a link in the chat, hopefully, where you can enter to win. It's free. We're going to draw the winner in just a little bit here, so go in and get in on that stuff. We're also raising money for Canines for Warriors. If you would like to contribute, you can tip. Link in the chat for that. And if you're just joining us and wondering who this person right here is, this is Nick Hale. He is from the Peak DnD YouTube channel, and he is here to give a sleazy plug. Do your sleazy plug, man.
All right, sleazy plug, here we go. Peak DnD does a lot of fun videos. We do collaborative comedy sketches with Luke. We do gameplay content. We just started a new campaign. Our session zero video is up. Please check that out. And we do a lot of fun videos about the principles of gaming, how they apply to life, and how you can live a more fun and interesting life by incorporating your D&D ideas into your life. So check us out, Peak DnD. We do stuff.
They do stuff.
I got to work on my plugs, man. I really ran out of steam there at the end. But check us out anyway. Tell us in the comments how I can plug better.
Yeah. The plugs. I think the best way to do the plugs is to go super cheesy. That's the way to do it, man.
Yeah, there you go. Session 1 video of our new campaign coming out this Saturday. Check it out.
I have a group of adventurers and they tend to overwhelm everything I throw at them. Do you have any suggestions on how to break up the party in session to create the challenge? Oh, you don't need to break up the party and split the party. You could do that, but like, how many times are you gonna? That is a bad way to try to solve that problem, because it's like, what are you gonna do every encounter? Think of a new way to split the party. Like, you're only gonna do that once or twice every so often. That's a bad way to try to solve that problem. Just make your encounters more challenging, dude. Like, just amp it up. Higher CR creatures, more creatures. Don't increase hit points, because that just makes battles longer and sloggier. Increase damage. Give them 2 attacks instead of 1. I mean, just make it more challenging. You don't. Yeah, that's a better solution than, trying to split the party every combat, because that's going to get old very fast.
Yeah, that's something that might work once. And it might work once with, the easiest way to do it is with battlefield control spells like Wall of Stone or Avard's Black Tentacles. Mm-hmm. But that I don't think should diminish the larger point, is that that's not something that's going to be fun 5 times. It can be a nasty surprise, once or twice maybe, but I wouldn't use that as my primary method of dealing with the problem. It sounds here like the issue that you're actually having is that your combat encounters are not quite up to what your party's capable of. And I agree with Luke, that's where I'd make the change. I'd add, maybe add monsters as another thing you can try, but yeah, don't lean on extra hit points. Don't lean on separating parties. Come up with fun strategies for the monsters to use. Even if you don't want to mess with the numbers, think of really effective strategies that they might use in order to address the increased threat level of your players. Come up with 5 solutions instead of pigeonholing yourself into one. That's always, I think, going to serve you better.
Yeah. Cool bonus rewards for leveling up. I don't know. You want us to brainstorm cool bonus rewards for leveling up? Leveling up is a reward unto itself. Why do I got to give you more stuff?
Yeah, I mean, leveling up is pretty rewarding intrinsically. If you absolutely want to, what I would suggest is you could tie advancement in levels to some other thing that the PCs want. Maybe that's increased status in an organization that they're part of. There's a mechanic. There's a mechanic from 3.5 that I enjoyed a lot and that I've been thinking about bringing into 5th Ed in my own games, called legacy magic items. And those are items that get more powerful as their wielder gets more powerful. So it's, a way to give like a unique storied interesting weapon without handing them an artifact. That's something I might consider. But one thing that shouldn't be lost there is that leveling up is a reward in and of itself. So just be careful that you modulate that and that you make sure that you're not throwing all the goodies at your players all of the time. Create some feast and some famine.
Yeah, in a past issue of Lair magazine, we published a rewards and recognition system that has different types of things you can do for your players' characters when they, we pitched it as, instead of like a reward of gold and magic items for a quest, when they completed an adventure, you could give them, one of these different things in our rewards and recognition system, such as, nobility or rank in an organization or other things that we had. We have a whole bunch of different things that you could do. But you could do that for leveling up as well. Like they level up and after so many levels, they gain a rank in an organization or their level of nobility. Like the king might see, hey, this noble is doing better and better and doing all these things. We might grant them higher and higher titles and more chunks and parcels of land to go with like all of the good that they're doing for the kingdom or something, And so you could also take that rewards and recognitions and leverage it for leveling up as well. But I agree, modulate it a little bit because you don't want to have all the goodies tied to leveling up.
Right. And something that occurred to me also is that it doesn't necessarily have to be a material reward. Because most of your characters will have some sort of goal or some sort of motivation that's driving their adventuring career. Maybe at certain levels, you can drop additional clues. You can work in more of their backstory into the narrative, stuff like that. So you can also add things on the role play aspect. Or the exploration aspect, finding new interesting places to explore that aren't tied to a material reward. And that's a lot easier to keep a gameplay from becoming a Monty Hall.
Yeah. How do you prevent or deal with DM burnout?
Oh boy, you find a foolproof method for that. You make sure you let us know. But I deal with my DM burnout because honestly, the way that I work is I kind of get excited about certain ideas. I do as much with those ideas as I can while I have motivation. I write things down, I plan encounters, I kind of lay out plot grids. And when I get bored with that, I look for a new interesting direction to take the story in. So I'll change up the location as okay, we've spent the past 10 day in 10 towns. We're going to go explore for a minute. Just give yourself different places to go. And when you're excited about something, lay as much, groundwork as you can and make the most use out of it so that when the next thing comes, the next thing you're excited about, you can spend a lot of effort on that and you don't have to tie up loose threads in a plot line that you're maybe not quite as excited about anymore.
And sometimes you just need a break too.
Yeah.
I've been running DnD for my Curse of Strahd group for 4 or 5 years. I don't remember how long. And we went right from one campaign into Curse of Strahd, and for this next one I'm taking a break and other players are running some one-shots for us, and so that's going to give me a couple months off. It's ostensibly so I can prepare the next campaign, you know what I mean? But it doesn't take me that long to prepare a campaign, So, but having a break and just being a player and not having to be a DM, and then when I come back to being a DM, I'm gonna be excited about it and I'm gonna be more gung-ho about it. One thing that's helped me too for one of my games is I'll just mentally almost meditate on the aspects of the game that I enjoy and why I like doing it. Like you could view it as a pep talk to yourself or something, but I'll literally just, if I'm not feeling motivated, I'll think about the game and I'll be like, well, what do I enjoy about it? What are the things that I really like? Well, I like this part of the game and this part of the game, and or this part of being a dungeon master in general. And so I'll just think about the things that I find enjoyable about it, and I'll kind of put myself into that headspace and meditate on those things a little bit, so to speak, in that way. And that usually gets me a little bit, oh yeah, that's a lot of fun. I like doing that. Okay, cool. And then I'll that helps moderate that burnout a little bit too.
Totally.
All right. I think we're gonna wrap it up in just a little bit here. So we'll hit a few more of these things. I really enjoy talking. I really enjoy taking things that don't make sense and reworking it to make sense. Do you know any fabricated adventures that might fit that style? Things that don't make sense and then reworking them so they do make sense. Princes of the Apocalypse is a great place to start. The way they designed the different adventures, it's like in the one location, it's a level 3 at the first level. If you go down to the next level, it's a level 7 adventure. The next level below, it's a level 11 adventure. And the level below that is a level 15 adventure. And then there are 4 different adventure locations that do the same thing. It skips like 4 levels every time you go down in the dungeon. And so the way to run that campaign is you have to do 1 level here, but don't go down to the next one. Go to the next one, do 1 level, but don't go down to the next level in the dungeon. And you keep going from dungeon location to dungeon location. You take a big loop. And it's like, I don't know what they were smoking when they designed that adventure. I literally had to explain to my players, because they were like, they finally were like, Luke, just tell us how to run this campaign. What is the way that they wanted us to do this? Because they were getting frustrated. It just didn't make any sense to them. So maybe I wasn't running it properly or something. But Prince of the Apocalypse, if you could fix that module, you're doing a great job there, man. Nick, any thoughts?
Princess of the Apocalypse is also the one that occurred to me.
For that same reason, or did you have different things?
It's just bonkers, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's all over the place. So you either have to be very comfortable with nonlinear progression, or you have to find a way to make all of that jumping around make sense narratively. So yeah, that's Princess of the Apocalypse. That is a consensus on this live stream, I think.
And it's not just that it's non-linear, because I ran Curse of Strahd and it was non-linear. But
Right.
with Prince of the Apocalypse, it's just nonsensical. It makes no sense. It's just dumb. Like, I don't know what was, like, they were past deadline on publishing it, and it was horrible, and somebody at the top at Wizards, whoever was project managing that, was just like, you know what? We got to publish it. Take it to the presses. And all the game designers, not like the ones who designed Prince of the Apocalypse, but other ones who were reviewing it, were like, but it doesn't make sense. Nope. We gotta push it. You gotta push it. We can't redesign it now. I don't know what.
We're gonna miss the Christmas release window.
I don't know what happened with that one, but that just made no sense. Something happened there. or nobody played it. They designed it,
That's
but it didn't get played, or it did get played, play tested, but they didn't listen to the play testers because deadlines, and you don't have time to redesign it now. I don't know. And when I've ranted about that before, usually someone will be like, well, just create a reason that they can't go down to the next level. There's like a gem that unlocks the door is locked, so they have to go to the next dungeon over to get the gem and stuff. And it's at what point do the players just be like, well, isn't that convenient plot device that makes us keep moving around?
And it's so unsatisfying too, to send people on a fetch quest, essentially, in the midst of this incredible catastrophe in the making. It's like, oh yeah, we've got to go steal an old man's key and then answer someone's riddles 3 in order to move to the next part of the that's not fun. That's just putting obstacles in the way of fun that you have to get through in order to get to the cool stuff.
It's a magically sealed door it's sealed by plot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
It would have to be an incredibly self-aware tone in order for that to work. But
yeah, it's so bad. Now the adventures themselves I thought were enjoyable. I didn't have any problem with the adventures. It was just the way they designed it was.
the connective tissue is just all over the place with that one.
Yeah, it's rough. And then there's some of the information in the book is hard to find. Like supposedly there was a there was a party traveling from point A to point B, ambassadors, I believe, or emissaries, and they ended up getting ambushed or destroyed by the different cults. And like at some point, the players might come across that, but the information about that group of emissaries is scattered all over and hard to find, and you don't know where it is. And it's just like, come on, you could organize your module a little bit better so we can actually run this game, guys. That was something I remember being annoying too. All right, well, we've picked on that one long enough.
I think so.
How do you use passive checks the best way?
Well, yeah. Passive checks can be really tricky sometimes because if they're overused, they can trivialize a lot of dangerous aspects of a D&D game. But if they're underutilized, what's the point in having them, right? You want them to come in handy on occasion. So what I kind of do is I like to use them as a parachute, so to speak. So if they're really, really not picking up on the fact that this guy is lying to them, and they are about to do something catastrophic, I'll like check that. I'll check that against their passive insight or their passive perception, and that will help me decide whether or not to give them a clue about the interaction they're having. And I don't have to tell them, hey, this guy's definitely lying, but like, so, give them something cryptic, like something isn't quite right about this interaction and it doesn't sit well with you. I like to use them like it's less, my general rule is that it's less effective than making an active check. Like I check for traps, here's my roll, is better than passive investigation. But like the passive investigation might give them advantage on the saving throw if they trigger that trap because their instincts kick in and they're like, oh crud, something's happening. That's how I like to use them.
Okay. I tend not to use passive checks almost at all. The only passive checks I use is perception versus like unseen opponents, really. Like if somebody's trying to stealth, then we'll use passive perception. Most of the other time, I don't use it. I like active checks. I like players being intentional about what they're doing, declaring they're looking for traps or secret doors, or declaring that they're trying to suss out an opponent with insight or something. That's my preference for doing it. I don't think that it's there's a one way to do it necessarily. I think that there are shades of gray in how much passive perception you do, because there are arguments for using it more to speed up gameplay. Even though we're like, player makes a roll and tells you a result versus DM looks at a cheat sheet, cross-references it, and finds the passive perception, which is really faster. I think we're at a wash. You know what I mean? Really, the biggest argument might be for metagaming, right? Having a passive check to avoid the possibility of metagaming, which might be a strong argument for it. But I think there are lots of different ways to do it. I tend to not use them much at all. I really like doing active checks, but not necessarily the right way to do it, just reasons. All right, I think we're gonna wrap this up, dude. We got to a late start, but we still got a good solid almost 2.5 hours maybe in. So yeah.
Thanks for sticking around, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. So Nick, do your shameless plug one more time.
All right. Well, if you have enjoyed some of the insights I provided to this conversation, you can find more of those insights over at Peak DnD. We are a fun YouTube channel. We do comedy sketches. We do DM advice. We do gameplay. A lot of really fun stuff. We love having fun with this game, and we love helping to other people to have more fun with it. Check us out.
All right, thanks. And I'm going to do the giveaway now, too. So everybody who entered the giveaway, I'm going to draw a winner to the giveaway. Stand by. Drawing winners now. Here we go. Drawing the winner. Ooh. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see. Gotta check something. Okay. Horizon. The YouTube screen name is Horizon. You have won. Oh, there they are. Hello, Horizon. You won. I'm gonna send you an email so that you can, give me some information so I can hook you up with your prize thing, Bobber. Cool. Awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Who's calling me? I bet it's my mom. Oh no, it's not. I'm getting lots of calls from potential spam, it says. And I'm almost positive it started about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I started getting tons of these types of calls. And I think it's political calls because, you know, the election's coming up. Pretty sure I'm getting spammed by politicians and stuff. So just don't answer them. But anyway, sometimes my mom calls me. My mom has an uncanny knack for calling on live streams. And usually I answer and I talk to her. It's like a special treat. So
gotta love that mom content.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be on next week. We're creating an adventure next week. Nick, stay on the Zoom call if you would, please, sir.
I will.
All right, ladies and
Thanks for having
gentlemen,
me.
have a wonderful day. Go check out Peak DnD. There's a link down in the description and the pinned comment. All right, bye now.
Take care.